This is the Crimson Corner with Bill Riley.
Walks it into the end zone for a Utah touchdown.
Your source for the best insight on everything happening in and around Utah athletics. Now, here's the host of the Crimson Corner, the voice of the Utes, Bill Riley.
Welcome in to the latest edition of the Crimson Corner podcast, the second Crimson Corner podcast for 2026. I'm your host, Bill Riley. Today's pod being brought to you by our friends at Advanced Window Products. That's Nate Orchard's company. Best window company in Utah. If you need replacement windows for your existing home or maybe you're building something, let the folks at Advanced Window Products take really, really good care of you the way they take really good care of us here on the Crimson Corner. Got a lot to talk about today on the Crimson Corner. A lot going on with Utah football since the last time we talked. The staff is now completely filled out. We'll talk a little bit about that. The transfer portal for almost a week now has been open. There have been gains and there have been losses for Utah football. I was at Texas Tech this week, and let me just say, Texas Tech loves them some Texas Tech football. I was in Lubbock for basketball, but man, Texas Tech is everything, especially football right now in Lubbock, Texas. Got a special guest. We have a Hall of Famer joining us on the Crimson Corner this week. My good friend and Utah football legend, and now we can say it, College Football Hall of Famer Eric Weddle is going to join us. We'll talk to E-Dub about going into College Football Hall of Fame, how he found out about it, what it means to him to go in the College Football Hall of Fame, and also get his takeaway on the beginning of the Morgan Scalley era in Utah football coming up. We'll also do the latest on Utah hoops, the men and the women. We'll talk a bit about that today on the program, and of course, I'd just like to remind you guys, if you ever want to give me a little feedback on the podcast, I'd love it. Send me an email. It's briley@huntsman.utah.edu. That's briley@huntsman.utah.edu. If you want to give me a little feedback on the pod, if there's a guest you'd like to hear from, if there's something you'd like me to talk a little bit about, I'd love to get feedback from you. It's kind of taken me back to the old radio days where I got to talk to you guys on a daily basis. Now I get to talk to you on a weekly basis, but we don't have that interaction on the text line or the phone line like we used to. So hit me up with an email, briley@huntsman.utah.edu. If it's a question, maybe we'll read it on the air. If it's some feedback, I'll take that as well. And wherever you listen to this pod, do me a favor, do my buddy Nick Bowlerjack, who's the producer of this podcast, a favor. Give us a nice rating. Give us a thumbs up. Give us 5 stars, whatever it might happen to be on that particular podcast platform, and leave a good comment and review for us as well. We love to have that too, and would love to hear from you on that side of it as well. So anyway, Crimson Corner number 2 for 2026. Utah football and the start of the Morgan Scalley era. The staff is fully in place. When we talked a week ago, the staff was mostly in place. Morgan had filled most of the spots, but he still had some left to go. We talked a lot about Kevin McGivern last week. Remember, we had Kevin White on, the Utah State color analyst, who got to see Kevin McGivern's offense up close and in person last year, where he made Bryson Barnes an all-conference quarterback in Utah State. Well, we talked a lot about that last week. Since then, there have been a couple of more additions to the staff. He's made a tight ends coach hire. Luke Wells is the tight ends coach. He comes to Utah from Kansas State. And Ryan Gunderson is the quarterbacks coach now here at the University of Utah. He comes to Utah from, Oregon State, but most recently UCLA. Wells was a quarterback way back in the day, late 90s at Oklahoma State. He's coached wide receivers. He's coached tight ends at Iowa State, at Utah State, at Texas Tech, at K-State. Yes, Luke Wells is very well acquainted with the Big 12 and what it takes to recruit and coach in the Big 12. And if the name sounds familiar, it did to me when he was hired. I looked at his initial bio and I didn't see it in there, but yeah, he's the brother of Matt Wells, the former Utah State head football coach who was at Texas Tech for a minute. He's now the offensive coordinator at Kansas State. So Luke Wells is on staff. Last year, he coached an all Big 12 tight end at Kansas State. So he's got experience with both wide receivers and tight ends. Good addition to the staff. And Ryan Gunderson comes to Utah as a guy that has coached quarterbacks. He played quarterback at Oregon State in the mid-2000s. I believe it was for Mike Riley up at Oregon State. He has coached quarterbacks and been an offensive coordinator at different stops at Oregon State, at San Jose State, at UCLA. He knows the Utah program, and he knows the personnel. And obviously he and Kevin McGivern have a relationship as well because they were together at San Jose State, and Kevin brought him on his staff and Morgan hired him on board. So those are the latest additions to the Utah football coaching staff. You may or may not have heard about it. Jake Kukis is the special teams coordinator for Utah as well. Jake was part of the program as kind of an analyst over the last year or so, and now he's got that tab with special teams as well. So the staff is filled out. It's got a lot of Utah ties, as we talked about. Guys like Derek Odom, guys like Jordan Gross are on the staff, and of course a lot of retention from the last staff go around. So there's a lot there to like for Utah and the coaching staff, and they're still in the midst of putting their roster together now. But to have your staff in place certainly helps you begin to install what you want to install, but it also helps you on the recruiting side of things. The biggest news this week, though, was not the hires of Gunderson or Wells. It was the news that broke earlier this week, and it really wasn't breaking news. The timing was, but Devin Dampier's decision to come back for another year and play quarterback at the University of Utah. This is the biggest news for Utah's offseason aside for the head coaching stuff. Because to have your quarterback in place and to have stability in place is so very huge. But to have a guy like Devin Dampier back coming off what was a huge season a year ago. Remember, he made that jump from the group of 5 at New Mexico, where he was really good a year ago, to the University of Utah. And a lot of people wondered, could that athleticism translate? Would he have trouble leveling up to playing at a Power 4 school and playing in the Big 12? The answer is no. He did not. He was the Big 12 newcomer of the year on offense. He was the third-team All-Big 12 quarterback this year. He led Utah to an 11-2 season. He threw for almost 2,500 yards. He had 24 touchdowns passing. He ran for 835 yards and had 10 touchdowns rushing. And here's the big number. This was something that people wondered about as well. Remember, he had a pretty high interception total. I think he threw 12 a year ago at New Mexico. I think he had 12 touchdown passes and 12 interceptions. He knocked that number down to 5 this year. That was working hand in hand with a very good offensive staff in Jason Beck. Well, now he's got a good offensive coordinator in Kevin McGivern. The biggest part about this is Devin Dampier wants to be back here at Utah. Don't think Devin Dampier couldn't have gone someplace else. Don't think that his agent wasn't fielding phone calls about him being able to go someplace else. When you put up the numbers that he did at a school like Utah, and people saw it, especially in that final game of the year down in Vegas against Nebraska, a healthy Devin Dampier is a weapon. But he chose to come back to Utah. He chose to be part of this program, and that is huge for Utah. And I will tell you this right now. I really believe, especially with some of the weapons that are going to be around Devin this year, that he'll have a real chance to be an all-Big 12 quarterback if he's healthy. Think about it this year. He was a third-team All-Big 12 quarterback this year. He comes back for another year. I'm just trying to think of other guys that would be in the running. Probably Bachmeier at BYU, who was just a freshman this year. Sorsby's staying in the Big 12. Sorsby was at Cincinnati last year. He's going to be at Texas Tech this year. At least that's what the transfer portal has told us. But to be back in the same system or a similar system, Kevin McGivern's going to run a pretty similar system, I think, to what we saw a year ago, is huge. To have Devin Dampier back and to have a guy like Wayshawn Parker back and to have more weapons around these guys is huge. So I'm really excited about Devin being back, and I know Utah fans are too. But here's something else to be excited about. His best friend and roommate and running mate, Bird Ficklen's back too. Bird made that announcement earlier this week as well. So not only do you have Devin Dampier, who was the Big 12 newcomer of the year this year, you had a guy that came out of nowhere. Remember when the season began last year, everybody thought, well, Isaac Wilson is going to battle for that. He's going to be the number 2 quarterback. That did not turn out to be the case. It was Bird Ficklen, a young man who left high school early in Muskogee, Oklahoma, to come to the University of Utah. Bird Ficklen, when he got his opportunities this past year, was huge. He accounted for 10 rushing touchdowns himself in very limited snaps. So to have him back is huge, too. And I'm going to be really curious this year to see how Kevin McGivern plays with both of those guys. Because we've seen enough of Bird Ficklen to know you're not just going to have him backing up Devin Dampier. You're going to have something for him probably on a weekly basis. So I'm really excited for that too, and it's a great insurance policy if something were to happen to Devin to where he would miss some time this year. So those are the big additions this week. As I mentioned, the transfer portal is wide open right now. And the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. Every program in the country, whether you're Utah, whether you're BYU, whether you're Indiana, whether you're Miami, whether you're Oregon, you're going to lose players. And Utah has lost a share of players to the transfer portal. But they've also made some huge additions in the transfer portal as well. I think there's still some areas they probably want to address, maybe the tight end area, maybe a little bit more at defensive end. We shall see. But they've made some really nice additions to the program right now. And some weapons that are going to be huge on the offensive side for Devin Dampier. And they've added some nice depth in some areas too, such as cornerback, such as defensive line. So I like what's happened to Utah right now. I think you could make a case they've upgraded somewhat on the offensive side of the football, and we'll see as they go, because, again, the portal will close this Friday. We're recording this on a Thursday. You'll be listening to this on a Friday. The portal closes on January the 16th. But all that really means is nobody can then enter the portal. Anybody that's out there already that's already jumped in is still fair game to do it all the way up until next year. So we'll keep an eye on things. I don't think Morgan Scalley and his staff are done adding yet to Utah football, but I like what they've done so far. Have there been some losses? Yes, there have. But as a fan and as a media member like myself, you just have to retrain your brain that you're not going to be, especially when you've got a roster of 100 guys. There's just no way on God's green earth that you're going to be able to retain everybody on your roster. And Utah had some losses, but they've had some nice gains as well. And when those become official, we'll be able to talk specifically with them. We hope to have Scalley on this podcast when things slow down just a little bit, and maybe get some of his new coaches on this podcast as well to learn who they are and what they think of the roster as we head towards spring football this year. So that's where we sit right now, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the Scalley era of football, but also what it means to be a college football Hall of Famer coming up here on the Crimson Corner with my good friend and Utah legend, Eric Weddle. That'll be next. Stay with us here on the Crimson Corner.
Here's another insider interview on the Crimson Corner podcast.
Crimson Corner continues on, and a special guest. I always knew at some point in time I was going to be able to introduce him as Hall of Famer. Well, now it becomes official. My friend, former Ute, and now college football Hall of Famer, Eric Weddle, kind enough to join us on the Crimson Corner. And I will say this, the first repeat guest we've had on the Crimson Corner. So you only save those repeat guests for special occasions. And I would say to the College Football Hall of Fame is that. Dub, how are you?
I'm doing great. You know, having Hall of Fame tagged to some part of my identity is pretty sweet. So it's an honor to be back as a repeat, not a host, but a guest. And, just honored to be a part of your life, man.
Well, it's an honor to be part of your life and be a friend of yours for a long time. If you just want to be a host too, we could make this a co-host thing. I told you at some point in time when you're done coaching football, Riles and Dub podcast is definitely going to happen.
It would definitely make waves. I could tell you that. We would have some good things to talk about.
How many? Give me an idea. We're sitting here recording this on a Thursday. The news came out on a Tuesday. What's your phone been like over the last couple of days?
Oh my gosh, like over hundreds of texts and messages, email, interview requests, in studio, this and that and the other, and I'm kind of just taking it minute by minute at this point. And Chanel and Silver are heading to Arizona today, so I'm single dad for the next couple of days, taking care of the other three. But life is good, man. I'm just humbled and honored and really taken back. Like I didn't have any idea that they were announcing it. I didn't even think I was going to be going. I had a, do I look at my career and say I should be in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I do. But it's a crazy process. And there's a lot of work behind the scenes that have to get you to the point where you're even eligible and or nominated and or voted on. So a huge shout out needs to go to Jeff Rudy and yourself and others that campaigned, and Mark Harlan. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that and checkoffs that you have to do to even get to this point. So it doesn't happen without all you guys. And so really, I didn't have any inclination. And then Mark texts me, call me ASAP. And I'm like, he's never really been that blunt with me before. And so I call him, and he's like, we got something serious to talk about. I need to bring in someone else to the call. And so I didn't know who it was. And then Morgan comes on the three-way, and he's like, Morgan, I have something serious to tell you and talk about. And he's like, you made the effing Hall of Fame. And he just started screaming. And, Morgan went on for a couple minutes. So it was very unexpected, laying in my bed with Chanel and getting that phone call.
Were you napping, or did they call you early in the morning?
Well, so I turned my phone off at night. So when I woke up at it was late start for our kids, so I don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. like normal mornings. I think I woke up at 7, and I turned my phone on, and I see a bunch of text messages, and one was from Mark, and so I immediately called him in bed with Chanel laying right next to me. So it's pretty cool. She got to hear the whole conversation, which is very unique.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Not quite like the pro football where they knock on your door and they give you the yellow jacket, but it's still really, really cool. You know what else is cool? You're now going in. You're the fourth Ute to go in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the other three guys were with you. Alex Smith was a teammate of yours, and Urban was your coach.
Yes. Pretty insane.
Pretty cool symmetry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's very, just the whole, you look back at your time and the impact, not just, I did on the field, but more so the impact off the field of what I learned and the relationships and you cross paths with certain people. And then 20 years later, three guys from the U were all in there within a 2-year span. It's insane. It's really cool. It's amazing for the university, and just to be a part of it and be associated with our great university is something I'm very proud of. I got a lot of alums, a lot of old teammates, and a lot of coaches across the country that are coaching in college that have reached out, which is really cool.
And you're going in the Hall of Fame with a guy that was a teammate of yours for a very short period of time in the NFL. Your buddy Aaron Donald, certainly in the NFL ranks, as decorated as defensive tackle as they come, but he was a force at Pitt too.
Oh my gosh, it's very cool that we're going in together, and to see obviously his success from afar, but then being able to see it up close and personal for my last year before I retired, and then obviously the playoff run. He was one of one. And I always tell people this, even the players I coach, the college kids, and even NFL guys, young bucks in NFL. I'm like, the greatest players I've ever been around are the ones that love to practice, they love to be coached, and they're the hardest working guys in the entire building. And he was that.
Yeah, I was gonna say he
was that and more.
Was like you. Did you guys ever come? Were you both in early and leaving late?
He wasn't like a early morning type guy, but he was after practice, and when I'm going to get my extra work in the gym, like at the workout facility, he's in there getting extra work in. The lifts were crazy. He was always doing the rehab and stuff, and he always was watching film. So his studying was probably a little bit different than mine per se, but the work was evident, and it's why it's another reminder why guys are elite and why they're successful is it always goes back to the work.
You the strongest dude you ever played with?
I believe so. I came in after practice from doing some extra work on the field, and he's in there doing 405 incline bench and repping it after practice. And I'm like, this guy is out of his mind. I'm in there doing some rehab and he's in there just crushing it. It's like, yeah, this guy's different. No doubt.
He is. And Ndamukong Suh going in with you guys. Marvin Harrison, a guy you probably saw a few times early in your career.
Oh, yeah.
Bolts. Gary Patterson, the old TCU coach, went up against TCU. He's going in as well. So it's a really good class. Dub, if I went back 24 years to Rancho Cucamonga High School and told 18-year-old Eric Weddle, pre-beard, I don't even know if you were shaving back then.
I had a goatee back then my senior year. I grew it out. So
Look at you. You were one of those guys. If I would have told you back then, you're going to go in the Hall of Fame someday, what would you have said?
I said you'd be out of your mind. And there's so many variables, right? Like the more I've taken a step back from my career and transitioned to the next step of coaching and just being a dad and trying to navigate all that, it's like, honestly, I sit back and I it's hard to even comprehend that I played in the NFL, let alone played for that long and played at a pretty good clip. And then you go back to college and it's like, did that really happen? It's really, I don't know. I still to this day, I just don't look at myself in that aspect. I always looked at NFL players growing up as like mythical beings that you watched on TV. I could never go to a game. Like my parents both worked. It was crazy expensive. So it was just something like you never thought possible. And then you play college and you're like, I never thought that was possible. So it was like every day you're kind of living a dream. And I live a dream every day, man. Like I'm happy. I love life. I don't ever take it for granted. I want to live till I'm at least 100 because I love life. I love living. I love trying to be better, trying to do better, try to impact others. And, when you look at the grand scheme of like 100-year life, like a short blip will be the University of Utah, and then a little bit bigger blip will be the NFL, and then it'll be so much more. Like what am I going to be remembered by is kind of a daunting question, but also kind of cool because who knows? Who knows what's in store for the next 60 years of my life?
Well, that's a chapter still to be written, and the NFL
no doubt
was great. But we're talking about the College Football Hall of Fame today. All right, go back in time. I know it's tough to go back that far, but is there a signature? Is there a moment in your college football career that stands out? It doesn't have to be a highlight per se, but was there a moment or a time or a play? So when you look back on it, this is what we're talking about today, College Football Hall of Fame. But was there something about your career that stood above other moments?
It's a great question. I think of a couple moments. I think of the 3-0 game. It always stands out as my probably most memorable moment on the field. On my 4 years there were definitely some more highs and lows, and some individual better games. I actually had a really good game that game, so I don't know, like an interception on the sideline, a forced fumble on the punt team that led to the field goal. Like that's a pretty good game, beating our rival 3-0.
For a freshman, and you were a freshman too.
For a freshman, mind you. So that always sticks out to me. And I remember, I got married this summer going into my junior year, and the bowl game we played in Frisco, the Poinsettia Bowl. I remember how much fun we had at that bowl game. Like that was by far the best bowl game of the 4 that I played in. And it was just like we did so many fun things. We were with some other couples, and we were really close. Like we got really close with a lot of teammates because, there were a lot of married guys at the time. So I think, that sticks out. I think when Coach Wick came to me in our bye week, sat me and Morgan down and said, hey, we're thinking about moving one of you guys to corner and the other one to stay at safety because we need to make some changes. And Morgan definitely didn't want to move to corner. So it was kind of just like, hey, Eric, we're moving you to corner. Well, so you're going to see how this goes. I had never played corner before, and this is documented. But I remember getting thrown out there one-on-ones and going against P-Dub, Paris Warren, and those guys, and like holding my own. Like I'd get a PBU and then I'd get the ball caught on me, but it definitely wasn't. It was kind of like an eye opener for the coaches. Like, whoa, like maybe this guy can do it. And then the next week, I'm starting against Colorado State against Anderson, who was like the first team All-League receiver, and we end up, winning the game, and the rest is history. So it was just like the unknown, and obviously Coach Witt identifying talent and moving positions. Like how many times over the course of the last 20 years has a guy came in as a receiver or running back, and they move him to DB, or a quarterback that moves to running back, like, and they become all league players. Like he definitely had a unique, special ability to identify that and get the most out of them.
Well, Eric doesn't like when I bring this up, but years ago I did the research. He actually played more. He's part of the safety pride fraternity, and I get this. But I did the math. He actually played more games at corner at Utah than he did at safety.
Yeah,
He was
I
great
know.
at both, but I always like to give him a hard time when he throws up the hashtag safety pride. I'm like, it's hashtag corner pride for you. Buddy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I played more corner and nickel than I ever did at safety. And a lot of my transition, it took me a minute to become an above average or elite safety. It took me some time because I didn't have a bunch of experience at it. I mean, I played linebacker, glorified linebacker in high school. Like that's where you put your best players, make them make the tackles every play. So there is some truth to it, Riles. There is some truth to it.
All right. Have you told your kids? Do the kids at school? I know your kids at home know. But
yeah.
Do your players know yet that you're a Hall of Famer? Does this give you more cred with the kids in the locker room?
Oh, God. Well, I don't think I have much credit at all with any of them. They could probably care less that I played in the NFL, let alone a Hall of Famer in the college ranks. My assistant actually announced it today in team meeting, and they all clapped it up. So, does it help them listen more when I speak? No, I got about a minute and 45 seconds before I get tuned out. So I got to get my point across fairly quickly.
All right. We've got the College Football Hall of Fame taken care of now, and rightfully so. Now I'm going to turn my attention for the next 2 or 3 years to Canton, Ohio, and battling the trees and getting my buddy Eric Weddle in. I ran some numbers the other day. Your career arc, very similar to John Lynch and Steve Atwater. Statistically, you're better in some areas. I'm just saying, we'll save that for another day.
There's
a case to be made. I'm just saying.
There's a case. It may be really, really small, but there's a case.
All right. Before I cut you loose, we haven't talked. You and I haven't really had a long conversation since we saw each other at the bowl game in Vegas.
Yeah.
And we chatted a little bit offline, about the staff. I know you're really excited about what Morgan's put together staff-wise. Just give the fans, those that haven't heard from you, an idea of what you like most about what Morgan's been able to do staff-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was unfortunate to lose the coaches that we did. I think he was probably expecting the offense staff. I'm elated that Mark decided to stay, and I think he loves what we're doing here, and he loves Morgan. So kudos to Mark. And losing Lewis Powell, he's a brother, and he's family. So I'm never gonna put someone down for doing something that he feels best. But that hurts our program. Obviously, great recruiter, great man, great coach, family man. Like my kid Gage loves his boys and LJ, and so getting Jordan Gross. People are a little hesitant, like, oh gosh, he's got to learn to recruit, and he's got to learn this. I was like, hey, if anyone that you're going to bring on staff that is ex-player I think anyone that coaches high school, and especially the head coach, is probably more prepared to coach college or the NFL, because we're getting guys ready that have no business playing the game. So we get guys that actually have the ability to play. I mean, imagine what we're going to do with that type of talent. So I am so excited for Jordan. I think it lined up with him, personally with his life, his family. He's a Ute through and through. He loves our university. So that was a home run. I think the guys that he's got on offense, he felt a little stressed at times, obviously. But I told him this is a great opportunity that you're able to pick and really get the guys in here that you want to build around your vision and your direction of the University of Utah moving forward. So take your time, do your due diligence, get the best capable coaches that our boys deserve. Okay. And I think he's done that. I love the hire with McGiven. His track record speaks for itself. The ability to adapt, to be creative, to build offenses around the personnel. If he has more of a quarterback, you look what he did at San Jose State in the 1,000-yard receivers that they had. You look what he did with Barnes last year. I mean, so imagine what he's going to do with what we have here, with not having to revamp everything, doing very similar stuff that what we did last season. And so, yeah, like, I couldn't be more excited. The strength staff's been upgraded. Steve Saunders, who was my head strength coach in Baltimore, is on staff now, and bringing a wealth of experience and ideas to help our boys. Like, at the end of the day, we're trying to get guys in here that love the university and are willing to do whatever it takes to give our boys the best, right, on the field and off. And I think that we've done so. You look at all the hires. You look at Coach Odom coming back and his experience, not just on the field as a coach, as a man, recruiting. I've seen it firsthand when he's recruited San Diego. So I've seen it. He was my position coach my senior year. So, like, so many things to be ecstatic about. And I can't wait to get out there in spring ball to be a part of the program, to learn, to grow as a coach, and obviously support from afar during the season.
We saw Devin make huge strides this year, jumping from New Mexico to Utah. Interception numbers way down, total offense up, and that was playing through some injuries.
Man,
what's your expectation, Dub, for him heading with another year with as much, maybe some more talent around him?
At the end of the day, you got a quarterback that the guys love, that he's a leader and he's productive. Obviously, everyone has room for improvement, and he'd probably say the same thing, but you're getting a guy that is dynamic in so many areas that you look at our offense. A guy that people forgot about is who's the hybrid. He looks like Keithy, but he got injured against UCLA.
Hunter Andrews.
Dude, I have totally forgot about him, obviously, but getting him in there, getting these receivers, getting another year with Devin, and then getting more experience with Bird. Yeah, our offensive line is gonna take some work, but let's go see what happens.
All right, before I let you go, we're sitting here on divisional weekend. I need your Super Bowl pick today. I think I have an idea of where you might go, at least in the NFC, because you're a loyal dude and they're not too far away. But I'd be curious. Give me a quick chat. Who do we think is going to be playing at Levi's Stadium in a couple of weeks?
All right. So I got Patriots and Bills winning, okay, and then playing a third time. I think it's just lining up for the Bills to make it with all the different quarterbacks that aren't in the AFC. Not saying it's an easier road for Allen, but it's now or never, I think, for him and for that organization. So I got the Bills coming out of the AFC. I got the Rams, and I'm picking a sneaky upset by the Niners. Wow. And then we get the NFC Championship game back at SoFi, a rematch of 3 years ago when we won the Super Bowl. We're gonna win that game, and then Rams Bills Super Bowl. And, of course, I got the Rams with another Super Bowl nod from my dog Sean. And Stafford solidifies his first ballot Hall of Famer and comes back after an MVP. He gets the Super Bowl MVP. It's all there for us to go take it as an ex-Rams fan, a player. And, me and Sean are obviously really, really close. We still talk weekly, and I've watched every game. So I think it can happen, but they got to go do it.
Tell you what, I was watching him play the other night. I know you would love to play for D'Amico Ryans and that
Oh my
Houston
gosh,
defense.
man.
How good is that defense?
Yeah, like I honestly think that game, and I could easily see Houston winning. My only drawback is I just don't trust the offense of Houston, and they're just not very good. And I think Patriots are really good as a team. I think that game's going to be like a 13-10, like a 17-13, grind it out, like two really good defenses.
Defensive touchdown, probably the only touchdown.
Like
Everything else are field goals.
New England's going to struggle. They're going to struggle against Houston. They're not going to, and they struggle against the Chargers, who aren't on the same level as Houston. So, both the AFC games I feel are toss-ups. I think the Rams are going to be I don't think many people. You look at both teams, you look at everything. The Rams are better. They just got to go do it, and then playing the third time with the Niners and Seahawks, I think it's a bad matchup for the Niners. And honestly, if I was betting, I would pick the Seahawks. And I kind of want the Niners for the Rams, but Seahawks might roll them too. So we'll see.
Those are the picks of one Eric Weddle. He may be completely right.
I'll probably be wrong. I think I got half of them wrong last week, so definitely don't take my vote for it.
Well, I want to thank you for being the the first ever repeat guest. I want to thank you for your friendship all these years, but I want to congratulate you on being a Hall of Famer. You've always been a Hall of Famer to me and Utah fans everywhere, Dub, but now it's official.
It's official. It has a nice ring to it, like I said in my Twitter post, and appreciate your friendship, your love, your family to me, always until the end of time. And this is the reason why you come to Utah. It's about the relationships. It's about bigger than the game. And the people that want that, come on with it.
Dub, talk to you soon.
You got it, brother.
The best insight on all things Utah athletics. It's the Crimson Corner Podcast.
Big thank you again to my good friend for a long, long time, Eric Weddle. I know he's been inundated. Everybody's blowing him up this week with the honor of going into the College Football Hall of Fame. So I really appreciate him taking a few minutes out of his day to chat with us here. He's just the best guy. He just really is. He's the same guy today as he was when I interviewed him when he was an 18-year-old freshman here at the University of Utah. He, like all of us, though, has just gained a little bit more life experience, but it hasn't changed him at all. He's still a great guy, and I could not be happier. And you just think about this. Utah's got 4 members of its all-time roster in the College Football Hall of Fame. 3 of those 4 were together on the field in 2003 and 2004. Urban Meyer, Alex Smith, and Eric Weddle. I'd say that's a pretty good 2 years of Utah football right there, huh? Ike Armstrong, of course, is the other one that's in the Hall of Fame. And there'll be more to come. There will be more down through the years. I think a guy like Steve Smith will probably have a chance to get in there. A guy like Jordan Gross, who's on the coaching staff now, could probably have a chance to get in there. Kyle Whittingham at some point in time is going to be a College Football Hall of Famer as a coach, but also it takes in your playing days too. So he's got the double barrel there. So again, congratulations to Eric, and just can't say enough great stuff about him and what he's meant to me down through the years and what he's meant to a lot of you as Utah football fans as well. All right, couple of quick thoughts on Utah hoops. Rough start to the week this week for both the men and the women. I mentioned earlier in the pod I was in Lubbock early in the week. My first ever trip, by the way, to Lubbock, Texas. And let me just say, they love their Red Raiders there. There's not much else in Lubbock, Texas besides Texas Tech. And they are all in on the Red Raiders. You step off the plane at the Lubbock airport, you see Texas Tech. You see the Red Raiders. They are proud, and rightfully so. They had an unbelievable football season. Here's what I love, though. I had some Utah gear on as I went out to dinner one night, and I was at the game at United Supermarkets Arena, and the people could not have been nicer. I had so many people. We were at lunch, myself and Sean Mooney and my engineer, Alonzo Sarinana, and we went to a barbecue joint for lunch on Wednesday, and we had some Utah gear on. We went in there. We had 3 or 4 people come up to us and say, "Hey, you in town for the game?" We're like, yeah. And every single one of them said, "We went to Salt Lake City for the football game this year. We had the best time." It was beautiful. We had a great time. I said, well, of course you had a great time. You won that game. You really liked that fourth quarter. They all laughed and they had a great time. But they are all in. It is a college town through and through. Like I said, there's not a lot else going on in West Texas and Lubbock. But Texas Tech, football especially, they are all in on football. My hotel room overlooked the football, and it's a complex. Jones AT&T Stadium, their indoor football facility, their football practice fields, and their equipment and strength and training facilities, it's like a mini college campus within a college campus at Texas Tech. It is crazy. Now, we don't get to go there for football until I think 2027. They're not on the schedule as far as I know next year. They've come here. I think 2027 will be when Utah goes. And again, it's not easy to get to. There's no direct flights from Salt Lake City into Lubbock. It's a couple of hops, skips, and jumps. But I will say this. Based on what I've seen on TV and based on my experience being in Lubbock, I can only imagine what a football Saturday is like at that place, because the basketball arena the other night was rocking. United Supermarkets Arena was rocking. So I would say, I know Utah fans are always looking for that next stop to go for a football game. I don't think Texas Tech's going to stop being good anytime soon. Cody Campbell, I don't believe his pocketbooks are going to dry up anytime soon, and they're all in on football. And I just see what that place is. It would be a fun spot to get. It's not going to be easy to get there, but it would be a fun spot to go to catch a college football game. And a lot of those folks came here last year and had a great time. And I would say this, much like a lot of places you've gone in the Big 12, whether it's Waco to Baylor or Oklahoma State or some of these other places, the hospitality is there. And I think the football will be great as well in a couple of years. So basketball the other night, not quite so much. Utah fought and battled. They actually played okay in the first half against Texas Tech. Still found themselves down 12. They knocked out a bunch of three-pointers. Texas Tech's really good. Utah is 0-4 in conference play right now. 3 of the 4 games that they've played in conference play have been against top 15 teams. They've played the number 1 team of the country, Arizona. They played the number 9 team of the country, BYU, and now they played the number 15 team of the country, Texas Tech. Those are tough games. Utah's now lost 5 straight. They competed and played hard. Texas Tech's really good. They were an Elite 8 team a year ago. They've got the reigning Big 12 Player of the Year in JT Toppin, and he had 26 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 block shots. And then they've got a guard named Christian Anderson who's really, really good too. So Utah knows what it's up against, and seeing 3 of the 5 best teams in the league will tell you something. They've got TCU coming in on Saturday. Now TCU on Wednesday night played BYU pretty tough down in Provo. So Jamie Dixon's team, of the teams Utah has played so far, they've played 4 teams. This will be 5. They're probably 4th in talent. I think they're a little bit more talented maybe than Colorado. We'll see. But it should be a good game. It's a noon tip-off at the Huntsman Center coming up on Saturday. Sean Mooney and I will go on the air at 11:30 with a 12 o'clock tip time. Get your tickets at utahtickets.com. One little bit of bad news for Utah basketball. The Spanish transfer. I say transfer. The Spanish acquisition. Not inquisition, but acquisition. Lucas Longarita. We got ever so brief a look of Lucas on Saturday before he got injured against BYU. He's going to be out for a little while, but when he comes back, and hopefully into next year too, he is a really nice basketball player. He knocked down an open 3 and made 2 unbelievable passes that set up buckets. So he'll be out for a bit, but when he comes back, he'll certainly help Utah's lineup out. So Saturday, TCU for Utah. The Utah women had been rolling coming in. They had won 3 straight games. They're an upper third-tier team right now in the Big 12. They got beat, though, on Wednesday night. Baylor came in, nationally ranked Baylor. Baylor's always good. They were a nationally ranked, a national championship caliber team when Kim Mulkey was there a few years ago. Got them the other night by about 13. No shame in that. They'll be on the road Saturday. That'll be an ESPN Plus broadcast. They'll be at Houston on Saturday. But Gavin Peterson's got a good thing going right now. They're 13-5 overall. They've got some good wins. They're 4-2 in league play. And Houston, frankly, right now, not real good. So that could be a game where they go on the road and grab a win and maybe get to 5-2. That game will be an ESPN Plus broadcast coming up on Saturday. So that's a little bit on hoops. And then, of course, The Utes go back out on the road next week for a game at Kansas State, and then go next Saturday down to Provo to play BYU. So it'll be a tough couple of games on the road for Alex Jensen's guys coming up next week. That will do it for this edition of the Crimson Corner. Again, as I said at the top of the show, would love to get feedback, would love to get comments or questions from you. Just shoot me an email, briley@huntsman.utah.edu, briley@huntsman.utah.edu. And if you have a chance, give us a good rating, rate us, write us a nice review. It helps me and Bowler know what to do with this podcast moving forward. And we'll look forward to catching up with you again next week. For Nick Bowler-Jack and for the Hall of Famer Eric Weddle, I'm Bill Riley saying, go Utes.
You've been listening to the Crimson Corner podcast with Bill Riley. Bill is back next week with the latest on Utes. Download previous Crimson Corner episodes on all major podcast platforms.